Hey everyone, Mike Embry with SibcyCline Realtors here, and welcome to Open Book Realtor, the channel where we give insight and discuss tips to lead you to more success when you buy and sell, but most importantly, give you the reality of real estate. Today, we're going over the 5 steps to help you be more prepared to sell your home. These tips are going to help get more buyers in the door for you, so you'll have a lot more showings, more offers presented, so hopefully you have a faster sale and make maybe thousands of dollars more than you would have otherwise for not doing some of these tips. Some of these are going to be a little bit redundant, you've probably heard them, or they might be a bit obvious, but I am going to go into some detail that you may not have thought of before. Of course, I'm going to be making specific videos on these too, so keep an eye out, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's jump in. But before we get into all of that, please remember that I am a licensed realtor in the state of Ohio, so some of this may differ in your state or country. None of this should be taken as explicit instruction, but more for fun and general education and insight. Consult your realtor or attorney with contract or process questions. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in the greater Dayton, Ohio areas, I would love to work with you. If not, don't worry though, I'm also a relocation specialist with the leading real estate companies of the world, specializing in the best connections for buyers and sellers around the world. I'm local and global, so make sure you subscribe, leave a like and a comment of where you are, with content ideas you'd like to see on the channel, and send me an email with your real estate needs and I would be happy to connect you to a top-notch agent in your area. Contact information and links are below, so with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. Before we go on, I just want to make sure we point out, yes, I have decorated for Halloween. It is Halloween time where I am right now recording this video, so you're welcome. If it's Christmas time, or if it's maybe some joyous holiday around where you are, I guess still, you're welcome. As we get into each one of these steps, I want you to really think about something. For every one of these tips or these steps that you might not be willing to do something, I want you to slash off at least $1,000 of what you can make off the home. Yes, it's not an actuality that you're going to maybe lose that much, but these steps and these tips are designed to help you market and appeal to the broadest amount of buyers possible. That's the whole goal. You don't want to restrict who might be interested in your home. You want to have as many buyers come through your house and send you offers as possible. So these steps are going to help you get there. Okay, step number 1 is going to be clean, declutter, and deodorize. That sounds a little obvious. But when it comes to cleaning, I want you to think about these 3 directions to look. I want you to look up, look down, and look right in front of you. Why do I want you to look up? Well, I want you to start paying attention to things like your crown molding, corners of, the ceilings where cobwebs have started building up, or something to that effect that you were not realizing before because you're always around it. You don't pay attention to some of that sometimes. I mean, how many times are you in your house and actually looking up at the ceiling? It's not very often. So just look up, pay attention to what's going on in your ceilings and the corners of your rooms, and look down because you want to pay attention to your baseboards. A lot of the times we completely forget baseboards need cleaned. Unless you are cleaning them regularly, good for you, thank you for that. But not everybody really does that. If we spill something on our floors, a splash is going to get onto the baseboard and you're probably not going to realize where it is. You've wiped off what you could see, but you didn't realize there was extra splashing that happened elsewhere, which then dust starts to collect on any sticky spots, yada 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 goes down the line. Also look down to get under some furniture. Dust bunnies love to just collect themselves under furniture. These are things that you want to pay attention to. They're small details that can have a huge impact on the experience the buyer has when they're in your home. Now you want to look right in front of you as well, because looking right in front of you is going to open your eyes to the things that you see every day, but because it is something you're around all the time, you've got blinders on that you haven't realized. And they're going to be things like doorknobs, any other door handles, all of our appliances where there's smudging, and then about 2 feet up or down from where a doorknob is on every single door. Even kick plates, those are something to pay attention to. So we have a tendency to grab corners of walls with our hands. Same thing with doors. When we pull them closed, we don't always touch the handle only. Our hands are oily, so they leave grime behind if we're not constantly scrubbing or constantly cleaning those. And before you know it, there's a buildup of dirt, a buildup of oil, and there's a staining that starts to happen there. It can be cleaned, but it's just something you want to pay attention to, that if it's not pointed out to you, you probably haven't realized is there. So much easier if you go about it yourself than having someone say, ooh, you might want to clean that. Now, when we're decluttering, you want to think about all of your countertops, all of your bathroom vanities and sinks. Think about any of your furniture, the tops of any dressers, all of that kind of stuff, desk space, you name it. Anything that has a surface, you want to clear it out. Open up as much room as possible. If you sell your house and you move on to another one, you're gonna need to pack everything up anyway. So you may as well go ahead and get a head start and start putting everything that's on dressers, everything that's on countertops that you don't really use, put all of that in a box, store it in closets, store it in your garage, just get it out of the way. It's going to look much better in photos, and buyers are really gonna like that they can see their own stuff in that house versus seeing how much stuff you actually have. They want to see the countertops, they want to see how much room and space there is. Another thing to pay attention to when it comes to decluttering, though, is trash cans. We all use trash cans and have them, but they are a little unsightly. Similar to how you can smell something that might give you like a indication that there's a problem, when your eyes see something like trash, it automatically tells your brain it might be dirty. Whether it's a perfectly clean trash can that's brand new with nothing in it, it's going to have a subliminal effect on the brain. So we want to avoid that. So kind of tuck it away if you can, get it out of the way of what would be in a picture or something to that effect. Make sure it's tucked under cabinets or maybe in a pantry. Just get it out of the way. That way it's not an experience somebody has to have seeing the trash can in general. Again, little tiny tips, but they have a huge impact on the psychological effect of a buyer while they're in your home or viewing pictures to decide if they want to come see it. Deodorizing. Now this is a big one. This actually affects the psyche of buyers a lot more than you may realize because we have, maybe little ones that are around the house. We have pets probably. And of course they're family members. We love them and we all have our collective smells as a family, right? But that's what the problem can be. We get used to those smells so we don't notice that they might impact somebody else. Best ways to get rid of any kind of odor whatsoever, even if you don't think one is there, you may as well think about doing some of these tips and items to take care of it just in case. Shampoo all of your carpets. Steam anything that is upholstery or fabric in general. So that goes to curtains, that goes to furniture that might be upholstered or have fabric or something to that effect. Get a dehumidifier in basements or just in general. Dehumidifiers are very helpful. Maybe get a air purification system. An air purifier that does sound like it's a cost up front for you to do. That could actually have a serious positive impact on the buyers while they're in your home because you have alleviated any kind of negative smell. So we want to make sure everything is fresh for them. A lot of people want to put a really strong scent like a candle or a plug-in or something like that in their homes. Do not do that, please. If you are going to utilize any kind of scents, you want to be very subtle about it. Maybe one plug-in on a low setting that is a very neutral smell. Something like some clean linens or some general florals or something to that effect. When we're hunting for houses, we don't want to go into the house and be like, it smells like Malibu. No one's going to be doing that. We want to see houses and we want to just know what the house is like. So knowing what it smells like naturally is a good thing for buyers to know. Now that's all for the first step. I know that's kind of a lot and it's stuff you probably would be doing anyway to prepare for sale, but that's really the first step you want to take. The more open you can make your space, the less smells that are going to be present, and the more clean you can make everything, that's when you're going to be led to step number 2, is to find a good realtor. Bring that realtor in after you have started to declutter, clean, and deodorize, because you want that realtor to have a really good clean slate sense of your home so they can put themselves in the frame of their buyers. And it is a little bit of a difficult conversation to have people remove some of their tchotchkes or try and tell someone that there's a bit too much in their house. That is a delicate conversation that can go south quickly. So if you, before you talk to your realtor, can have all of that put away, just clear off every surface that you have, it's going to make all of your conversations go so smooth. Plus, it gives your realtor a little bit more insight, because if they know you're willing to do some steps, they're going to feel excited about getting you ready to be listing for sale, because it's going to be less work that everyone has to do. It's going to be very smooth sailing. You've probably heard in some other videos that I'm a relocation specialist. Yes, I am. I help people around the world all the time get all the connections that they need for their real estate needs. So if you do want to speak to a realtor in your area that would be in my collection pool or in my connections, I'm happy to do so for you. Leave me that comment, give me a like, let me know where you are and what I can do to help you. All of my information is also going to be below. Now, the things that people tend to worry about the most or pay attention to the most when it comes to choosing a realtor to help list and sell their home is how much do they cost and what are they going to do to sell my house, right? And that's understandable. But the main things I want you to keep in mind is, just like anything else, you pay for what you get. That's all I'm going to leave it at with that. You pay for what you get. Make sure that this person is willing to explain the current contract to purchase and the current process in your area. Contracts to purchase fluctuate all the time. To address market conditions usually is that purpose, from what I've been told. It has happened in my area multiple times, just in actually a few years. But you want to make sure that that person is up to date, they're confident in that contract, and they can explain it to you well enough. That way, when it comes to making negotiation decisions, you both feel confident, you're on the same page, and you're ready to go. Once you've chosen a realtor, that's when you're going to start having the conversations with them about these next few steps. So step number 3 is going to be to start neutralizing and staging your home. Your realtor is actually going to be a lot of help for this, because every area has different trends for what the buyers are generally looking for. What's in the Midwest, where I am, is not going to be the same as what buyers want in New York City or California or Florida. You know, there's different tastes, there's different styles, there's different design trends and things like that that happen everywhere. So don't watch HGTV as your only source of staging or neutralizing a home. There's a big difference between designing and personal taste and staging a house to appeal to as many prospective buyers as possible. When you're neutralizing, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to paint my house a neutral color. I'm going to paint all my walls or something like that. Don't do that yet. Talk to your realtor first. It's not always about painting everything gray. That's where everyone goes to so quickly, but gray is not the only neutral color. And sometimes it's not just about painting your walls that causes a house to be neutral and feel like it's a clean slate. That term clean slate is actually what a lot of buyers are looking for. They want something that they can put their stamp on. And the colors of your walls might allow them to do that. So I don't want you to think you have to spend that money up front right now when that may not be the case. Again, consult your realtor. They're going to give you much more insight to that. Sometimes when it comes to your walls and neutralizing your walls, it's not about the color. It's actually about how clean they are and how just fresh they feel. So is there wallpaper that's bordering a bunch of walls? Is there bold and aggressive wallpaper, or is there pretty outdated wallpaper? Or are there decals? Is there something that the buyer is going to look at and say, oh gosh, I bet if I peel that off, it's just going to peel the paint. Then I'm going to have to repaint that whole wall, yada, yada, yada. That's the stuff you want to start avoiding being on your wall. In partnership with stuff that's on your walls, it is your picture frames, any decor that is, nailed or screwed into the wall. Be conscientious of that, because if there are too many, a buyer might be overwhelmed at the amount of patching they might have to do and then painting again in order to move in and feel comfortable. So if you have, of course, some artwork that might work well in your home for staging and things of that nature, great. And of course, refer to your realtor. But if it's kind of your personal touch of things, maybe remove those, because that's no longer staging for general buyers. That's you being proud of something that you have that you want to showcase, which we all love to do, but that's when we invite friends and family over, not when we're trying to sell a house. The things we want to pay attention to if we have any of this stuff out is memorabilia. So little tchotchkes about maybe a sports team that we like, or a particular industry or interest that we have that we're collecting a lot of things. If your house starts to look like a museum, buyers actually enjoy, like, oh, look at the cute stuff they have, that's so cool. But they start to get a little overwhelmed with the stuff, and they stop paying attention to the layout. And they get really appreciative of all your collectibles, but then they also don't pay attention to the house anymore, which then you don't get an offer from them because they're taken by your memorabilia, not the house itself. So pack that stuff away, just like we talked about earlier in the video with decluttering. There are other things you want to pay attention to that do have this similar impact, and those would be anything that is political or religious, or anything about your personal life and who you are. Try and consider removing them before you list for sale. This is something that gets a little touchy because there's stuff that we tend to hold close to our hearts. It's pictures of our family, or if we're religious, that matters a lot to us, or if we're politically motivated on things, that's wonderful to show who you are. But those are the things that you want to showcase when you have friends and family visiting you, not when you're trying to sell your house to the broadest amount of buyers possible. Now, this also goes into aggressive paraphernalia, is how I like to call it, or aggressive memorabilia, or something like that. Is you can be a sports fan. Great, you've got a signed jersey by some amazing player or athlete or something to that effect that's framed, and it looks just great in the room, it fits well. Awesome, love that. But when you have an entire room that is painted to be the colors of the team and all of that kind of stuff, it sounds ridiculous, but there are people who do not want to have to deal with undoing any of that kind of decor. They also don't, if there are rivalries with sports teams and things like that, some people truly think that's bad juju or something to that effect. So you don't want to open yourself up to that opportunity, because the person that may not like your sports team that you like, they would never know you like them if they didn't see any of that stuff. And they might be your highest bidder in any scenario for selling your home, and you don't want to turn them off either. Okay, moving on from that stuff, because I know that's always a little touchy for some people. Let me know if you've ever had a good or bad experience with any of this stuff so far. Step number 4 is for anything exterior. Our landscaping, general exterior of the house, and maybe even our neighbors. Your exterior is actually the first and the last impression that your buyers are going to have. When they pull up to the home, they're going to either be like, oh, that's so cute, look at that. Or they're going to pull up and be like, oh, they sure haven't cleaned those gutters this year, have they? It's the first impression they have. So if you can make a good impression when they first pull up, they're probably going to forgive a little bit of some things throughout their visit, because when they go to leave again, they're going to get in their car and look back and say, oh, but it's so cute, isn't it? When it comes to maintenance of the home, you want to think of your landscaping, so maintain your, make sure mulch is fresh, trimmed bushes, make sure trees are not overgrown, weeds are pulled, all of that kind of stuff. Anything general maintenance or seasonal maintenance, get ahead of the game on that. It just makes everything look so crisp and clean in photos, and people really appreciate pulling up to a house that someone takes enough pride that the landscaping in the exterior is tidy and ready to go. You could also consider adding some exterior lighting. These are not expensive. A lot of the time you can get solar paneled ones that can light up steps. You can do, plug-in lights that can border any of your lawn or landscaping or gardens. They just add a nice comfort level if somebody happens to be seeing your house in an earlier morning time or in a later evening time. And it's also nice to take pictures around that time too, because if they're never seeing it at night, they wouldn't know how much to appreciate the lighting that you put into it. It can make a pretty good impact. Now that landscaping talk is out of the way, we want to talk about our exterior maintenance. This is going to apply to some things that you don't always pay attention to, just like when it comes to cleaning. And those things would be gutters. You want to pay attention to any peeling paint that you have. Some loan types are not going to allow a closing to happen if there's peeling paint. So you want to be very conscientious about window frames, garage door frames. Those are the most common areas that we see peeling paint in general. So we want to make sure that we touch those up, alleviate any of those kind of appraisal or loan issues before they become a problem. Now, your neighbors can be a little bit tricky, but they can definitely have an impact on the sellability of your home. So if your neighbors have, weeds and little trees growing out of their gutters, maybe be neighborly. Go knock on their door and say, hey there, just wanted to let you know I'm doing some outside maintenance on the house. I noticed that your gutters hadn't been cleaned yet. Would you like me to do that for you? I mean, however you might see fit to go about that, please do. But your condition of your neighbor's house, particularly directly next to and across the street from your house, they can have a pretty serious impact on whether or not buyers are willing to live there, because they may not want to live next to something like that. All right, the final step, step number 5, is going to be to show your home. Well, Mike, duh, I can't sell my house if I'm not showing it. That's the point. Don't do all of that work, don't do all of that preparation just to not show the house at all. Okay, talk to your realtor, get a specific schedule down if you really have a tight schedule and you're just not going to be able to do showings at certain times of the day. If you're constantly declining showings, those buyers may not even want to continue attempting to see it because they're trying to see it at the times that are convenient for them. But if they already know what your availability for showings is going to be, that's when they're going to try and make their schedule accommodate. Don't be declining showings. You can't sell your house without showing your home, so please show your house to as many people as possible. Make some adjustments to your schedule if you have to, or if you're realizing there's a lot of showings on a Saturday, go have dinner, go take the family, go hang out with friends or something. Just make the house available to be shown. That's that. When your house is being shown, please make sure that you have set things up before you've left for work, and definitely tidied up again just in case when you came back from work and before you go to bed. When your house is for sale and people are going to be applying for showings, you don't necessarily have to come back and clean just for that one showing. Just make sure the house is ready to go before you leave, and you can have as many showings that day as possible. They're not going to be rummaging through your stuff. I mean, at least they really shouldn't. I mean, that's just bad behavior, so I don't know why anyone would do that. But I guess it could possibly happen. But they're not going to be like dirtying up your house. So please, clean your house, get it all set before you go to work. That way, anytime showing requests come through, you can just confirm and allow them because it's already set and ready to go. As long as your realtor and you are on the same page and you've created the availability for the home, everything should be just fine and should be pretty smooth to get people in there. There's also another strategy to it too. If you're in a market where things are selling very quickly, it's an intense market and there's a lot of showings happening, that can get overwhelming. It is a different world nowadays when we're selling homes, just because we have a lot more buyers out there than we have people listing and selling their houses. So that means a lot of showings are potentially going to be happening on your home, and you could be out of your house for a lot of the day. So if that's the case, and that's something that you might be experiencing in your area, maybe go stay in a hotel for the weekend or something to that effect. I mean, I hate to have you feel like someone's suggesting to put you out of the house. That's not the suggestion, but it can be very helpful to remove yourself altogether. That way it can be shown as many times as possible by as many people as possible, and you're not overwhelmed, nor do you have to deal with it. So that last step is really simple, really easy peasy, but again, it's obvious, but it needs to be said. I can't tell you how many times I have tried to schedule showings on a home and they just get declined over and over and over again, and I just wonder why. Like, do you want to sell your house? I mean, I've got people who are interested who want to buy your house, but we need to see it. Why are you not letting us in? Don't do that to yourself. Don't fall in the trap of, oh, I just want to rest when I get home. Okay, well, sell your home or take a nap. I mean, if you've got a migraine, you got to take care of yourself, please do. But just keep it in mind, that's how you're going to sell your house, is having it shown. So please make sure your home is available to be shown as often as possible, or make whatever accommodations you can. That's the goal, to sell the house. So please do it. And there you have it. Those are 5 easy steps to be prepared and have a successful sale when listing your home. So I hope you find some benefit from this video or others that I have. I'm going to be making others that are more in-depth, like finding a realtor and setting up for staging and all of that stuff. So if you got any benefit from this at all, please give me a like and a subscribe. Let me know your thoughts too. Did you think that some of this was not good information? I want to know about that. I don't want to keep giving you stuff you don't want to hear. I'd love to hear from you. All of my information is below. If you need any connections in your area, I am happy to hunt down a top-notch realtor in your area so you can get the best connections if that's what you need. All right, guys, that's all from me. Take care. We'll see you next time.